Senzo Meyiwa's murder. 10 shocking facts that will make your jaw drop. Picture this. It's October 26, 2014. South Africa's beloved goalkeeper Senzo Meyiwa, Bafana captain, Orlando Pirates legend, at the absolute peak of his career, walks into his girlfriend's house in Vosloorus, southeast of Johannesburg. By 8 p.m., he's dead. Now here's the kicker. Over a decade later, 5 men are on trial. 2 dockets mysteriously exist, and the alleged mastermind still walking free. This case has more twists than a telenovela, more suspects than an Agatha Christie novel, and more unanswered questions than your high school math homework. I'm breaking down the 10 most insane facts about what might be South Africa's most botched murder investigation of the century. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for number 7. It's wild. Let's get into it. The story that kept changing. So here's how the circus began. The initial police statement said 7 suspects broke into Kelly Khumalo's mother's house during a robbery gone wrong. Cool. Clear story, right? Wrong. Within 24 hours, now it's 5 suspects, then 3, then 2. Then 1 guy gets arrested. It's like watching someone try to guess how many jelly beans are in a jar. Except the jar is a murder scene, and the jelly beans are literal suspects. The police couldn't keep their story straight if it came with assembly instructions. One day they're confident about multiple suspects. The next they're arresting 1 guy at a border crossing that turned out to be completely false. The South African Police Service was out here playing a very deadly game of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, except they kept using all their lifelines on the first question. And you know what's tragic? While they were busy changing their story more times than a politician during election season, the real answers were slipping through their fingers like sand. But hold up. Because if you think that's messy, wait until you hear about the forensic nightmare that unfolded at the crime scene. The forensic failure that would make CSI cry. Let me paint you a picture of what should have happened. Scene gets sealed, everyone isolated, evidence collected, chain of custody maintained. You know, like every crime show has taught us since forever. Instead, it was like watching someone try to bake a cake but forgetting literally every ingredient. No gunshot residue tests were performed. Let that sink in. At a shooting scene, that's like being a lifeguard who forgot to bring a swimsuit to work. The vehicle that transported Senzo to the hospital, not secured. The people in the house, not properly isolated. The clothes, not taken into evidence immediately. And here's the cherry on top of this disaster Sunday. A projectile was found on the second day, which means people were casually walking around an active crime scene like it was a Sunday morning stroll through the park. The first responders dropped the ball so hard, it's probably still bouncing somewhere in Vosloorus. With all the murders happening in South Africa, you'd think evidence collection would be seamless by now. Instead, it's giving my dog ate my homework energy, except the homework is justice, and the dog is, well, incompetence. Now, if you're thinking, surely it can't get weirder, oh sweet summer child. Because here's where things go from bad to, wait, what? Enter the mystery of the 2 dockets. The case of the mysterious second docket. Okay, so remember how I said this case had 2 dockets? Yeah, let's talk about that absolute head-scratcher. 5 years after the murder. 5 years. A second investigation docket was opened. Now, in the world of police investigations, opening a second docket is about as common as finding a unicorn riding a skateboard. It's basically unheard of. But here's what makes it even more suspicious. The original A1 statement. That's the foundational document that lays the groundwork for the entire investigation. Suddenly has a sibling. A new A1 statement appears, and nobody can explain why. Was it rewritten? Photocopied? Did someone reconstruct it from memory 5 years later? Because if they did, good luck with that. Try remembering what you had for breakfast last Tuesday. Now imagine trying to reconstruct a crime scene from 5 years ago after attending hundreds of other scenes. The memory would be cloudier than Johannesburg on a smoggy day. Yet somehow, this new docket pointed in a completely different direction, away from the robbery gone wrong narrative and straight toward, well, keep watching. Speaking of different directions, let's talk about the man who knew from day one that something wasn't adding up. The father who knew it was a hit. Samuel Meyiwa, Senzo's father, came out swinging with a theory that everyone dismissed at first, but now looks prophetic. This was a hit. not a robbery, not a random act of violence, a premeditated, orchestrated, paid-for assassination. And he said he knew exactly who the killers were. Professional hitmen from KwaZulu-Natal. Now here's what gets me. While the police were busy playing telephone with their suspect count, this man was sitting at home saying, "I know who did this. They're well-known killers who get paid for their service." He was also deeply hurt that Kelly Khumalo's mother never called to explain what happened at her house. After Kelly gave birth to Senzo's daughter, there had been family connections, rituals, relationships. Then, after his death, radio silence. It's like the whole family got a group text saying, "Block the Meyiwas," and everyone hit accept. Samuel also called out Senzo's close friend Tumelo Madlala, who was in the house when it happened, for distancing himself from the family and not telling them the truth. Imagine your son's best friend, someone you treated like family, knowing what happened but choosing to ghost you instead. But Tumelo wasn't the only one in that house. In fact, the list of witnesses is about to blow your mind, because literally everyone who could have seen something seems to have selective amnesia. The house full of witnesses who saw nothing. Alright, let's do a roll call of who was in that house on October 26th, 2014. Kelly Khumalo, the girlfriend. Zandile Khumalo, Kelly's younger sister. Longwe Twala, Zandile's boyfriend, son of famous musician Chico Twala. And Tombi Khumalo, Kelly and Zandile's mother, and owner of the house. Tumelo Madlala, Senzo's friend. Mtukozisi Twala, another friend of Senzo, aka Mto. 2 minors, Kelly's children. That's basically a full house. We're not talking about one witness in a dark alley. We're talking about 7 adults who were there when South Africa's national team captain was shot in the chest. And somehow, the stories don't line up. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle, where every piece is from a different box. Longwe Twala told reporters that the alleged robbers followed Kelly to a room. Senzo charged at the man with the gun to protect her. And that's why they shot him. Heroic narrative, right? But then why did it take over a month for police to test a licensed firearm belonging to someone who was in the house? Why was it in someone's possession if this was a robbery by external intruders? The math ain't mathing, folks. And speaking of things not adding up, let me introduce you to Zamukule Mbatha, the man who became the scapegoat in what might be the most embarrassing arrest in South African police history. The wrongful arrest that cost R10 million. October 31st, 2014, police announce a breakthrough. They've arrested Zamukule Mbatha, who was positively identified at an identity parade. The police are so confident, they hold a press conference. Divisional Commissioner Dinesh Munu literally says, "We're confident the individual we've arrested is the right one."
We are sure that the person that we have now charged is one of the suspects that were involved in the incident.
They were so sure you could have fried an egg on their confidence. Then November 11th rolls around. Mbatha appears in court, and prosecutor Margaret Marker drops this bomb. There isn't sufficient evidence to put Mr. Mbatha on trial. What? The magistrate orders his immediate release, and Munu's confidence evaporates faster than water in the Karoo Desert. But here's where it gets spicy. Mbatha sues the police and the police minister for 10 million rand for wrongful arrest and conspiracy. Imagine being so bad at your job that you don't just mess up. You mess up so spectacularly that it costs taxpayers 10 million rand. That's not just dropping the ball, that's throwing it into another province. And while all this is happening, the real killers, chilling somewhere, probably watching this circus on TV with popcorn. But wait, because here's where the plot thickens like pap on a stove. Fast forward to 2020, and suddenly the police have a completely different theory. The Bombshell confessions that changed everything. October 2020. 6 years after the murder, 2 men, Muzikawu Kulelwa Sibia and Bongani Sandiso Ntanzi, are arrested, and they're singing like canaries at a karaoke bar. Both confess, but not to a robbery gone wrong. Oh no, they confess to being hired to kill Senzo Meyiwa, and they name the person who allegedly paid them, Kelly Khumalo. I need you to sit with that for a second. The girlfriend, the mother of his child, the woman he died allegedly protecting. According to these confessions, she's the one who orchestrated the whole thing. Ntanzi allegedly confessed that he was paid 45,000 rand total, 15,000 rand in cash, On the night, Meyiwa died, and another 30,000 rand the next day from co-accused Mithobisi main cube. For reference, that's roughly the cost of a decent used car, a man's life, reduced to a second-hand vehicle. The confessions were admitted into court in 2024 after a 5-month trial within a trial to determine if they were coerced. Judge Ratha Mokoateng ruled they were given voluntarily and freely. But here's the million-rand question. If these confessions exist since 2020, why is Kelly Khumalo still not in handcuffs? Funny you should ask, because the evidence gets even more damning when you look at what the investigators found on Kelly's phone. The cell phone evidence that screams guilt. Brigadier Bongani Janinda, the lead investigator, dropped receipts that would make an auditor blush. Kelly allegedly had 4 cell phone numbers she never disclosed to police. When investigators finally found them through cell phone analysis, guess who those numbers were linked to? 2 of the accused killers, Mithobisi Cube and Fisokule Ntuli. But wait, there's more. I feel like an infomercial at this point. Cell phone records showed Kelly was in contact with accused number 5, Fisokule Ntuli, 11 days before the murder. On October 15, 2014, they had a 98-second phone call. They'd also been in contact months before in August. And here's the kicker that made my jaw hit the floor. Through cell phone analysis, investigators discovered that Kelly's phone had the exact same photo of a see-through bag full of cash that was found on Mithobisi Mancube's phone. Same bag, same position, same location. As Janinda said in his affidavit, there is no reasonable explanation as to why Kelly will be in contact telephonically with a hitman or killers of her boyfriend and share the same picture of a bag full of money. It's giving, I accidentally pocket-dialed my boyfriend's hitman multiple times energy, which is not a good look. And if you think that's damning, the messages between Kelly and her sister might just seal the deal. The messages that said, I want him gone. This is where it goes from circumstantial to chilling. Communication records between Kelly and her sister Zandile, dating back to 2013, a full year before Senzo's death, allegedly show Kelly saying she wanted to get rid of Senzo. According to Janinda's affidavit, it is apparently clear that she hated him and wanted to get rid of him. She further states that she regrets not succeeding in getting rid of him before. Let me repeat that. She allegedly regretted not succeeding in getting rid of him before, which implies previous attempts or intentions. And here's another red flag bigger than the one at a communist rally. After Senzo was shot in her mother's living room, Kelly called multiple people, friends, family, you name it. But you know who she didn't call? Emergency services. Not 10-11-11, not an ambulance. Nobody who could have potentially saved him. Instead, according to evidence presented in court, she later went to a traditional healer for cleansing, the same thing the accused killers did after the murder. If this was a movie script, the editor would send it back saying, too obvious, make it subtler. So with all this evidence, confessions, phone records, suspicious messages, shared photos of cash, surely Kelly Khumalo is behind bars by now, right? Right? Well, the mastermind who's still free. Here we are in 2025, over 11 years after Senzo Meyiwa's murder. The trial has been ongoing since 2022. The state closed its case in July 2025 after 3 years of presenting evidence. 5 men are sitting in prison awaiting their fate. Muzika wu Kulelwa Sabia, Bongani Sandizo Ntanzi, Mthobisi Prince Mancube, Mthokozi Seni, Mafisa, and Fisokule Ntuli. But Kelly Khumalo, she's performing at concerts, posting on social media, living her life. In July 2025, she even performed at Dundee July with heightened security while the trial churns on. When asked why Khumalo hasn't been arrested despite all the evidence, even the investigators can't give a straight answer. One source close to the investigation claims there's a strategy to arrest her after the trial of the 5 men concludes, charging her separately as the mastermind. Advocate Gary Nell, representing the Meyiwa family, has stated publicly, I am more confident than ever that the people on trial are the right ones. But yes, I still say others must be charged. In 2020, Brigadier Janinda wanted to charge Kelly with conspiracy to commit murder and murder itself. But the National Prosecuting Authority didn't authorize a warrant for her arrest. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. And trust me, South Africans have been guessing loudly. Meanwhile, Senzo's father Samuel sits at home, still waiting for closure. Still waiting for someone to explain why his son, a national hero at the peak of his career, loved by millions, was gunned down in cold blood, and the alleged person who ordered it walks free. Look, here's the thing. Whether you believe Kelly Khumalo is guilty or not, one fact remains absolutely crystal clear. This investigation has been a masterclass in how not to handle a high-profile murder case. We've got changing suspect numbers, botched forensics, wrongful arrests, mysterious second dockets, witnesses with amnesia, confessions that allegedly name a mastermind, damning phone records, and yet somehow, over a decade later, nobody has been convicted. Senzo Meyiwa was 27 years old. He was a captain, a father, a hero to millions of South Africans. He deserved better than this circus. His family deserves answers. South Africa deserves justice. And until that happens, this case will remain one of the most frustrating, convoluted, and tragic mysteries in our country's history. If this case made your blood boil as much as it did mine, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because we're diving deep into more cases that'll make you question everything. Drop a comment below with your theory. Do you think Kelly Khumalo should be arrested? Are the 5 men on trial the real killers? Or is there something even bigger we're not seeing? And hey, if you want to see me break down more South African cases that'll blow your mind, let me know which one I should cover next. Until then, stay curious, stay critical, and never stop asking questions. Peace.